Hey y'all, it's time for another air fryer meal in a hotel. And tonight's meal is going to be meatball subs with sweet potato fries. But this is the kicker. I bought the hamburger meat. I bought 2 pounds from Kroger when it was on sale. And I knew what I was going to do with that first pound, but I'm like, you know what? It's on sale. I better grab 2. I'll think of something to do with that other pound of ground beef. That's what we're doing tonight. It's making meatballs. I'm like, I want to make some bread. And then light bulbs just started going off. I'm like, it's been a while since we've had some meatball subs. And I don't want to go buy the bags of meatballs. I could have done that. And I'm like, I don't want to buy the Hoagie Buns. So guess what? This morning, before the crack of dawn, I got up with dear hubby. We had our coffee. I had my devotions. He was getting ready. He walked out the door. The son is still sleeping. And I'm like, what can I be doing? I know I'm going to make meatball subs. I better get this bread going. So I will insert some footage of where I got the bread made up, and then I found a clever little way to rise bread when the sun is not shining in a pretty window and it's kind of like cloudy and cold outside. I'm like, I gotta get creative. I've done this before, so I found a clever little way. I will insert that footage right here, the next few little bit, and then let y'all see it. And then that is how I'm going to make the Hoagie Buns. And then how I also took some of that and I'm showing you how to make cobatta rolls, cobatta bread. Okay, y'all, I have learned how to still make bread while we're traveling. My bread on the go, my traveling bread, whatever. I have 2 videos where I show y'all how making bread is not complicated. And I use that in a hotel when we're traveling to where I can still make bread no matter where I'm at. And it's therapeutic for me. So I will put that recipe in the description box below so you can follow it. And y'all, you can also use that recipe to make other things besides bread. It's just how you shape your bread. You can make hamburger buns. I've already made hamburger buns in a previous video, y'all. Used that same recipe and made hamburger buns. And you can make hot dog buns, dinner rolls. Ooh, just by the way you shape your dough. Or if you want bread, like sandwich bread, in an air fryer, it's a little smaller, so I have the mini loaves to where I can make little mini loaves of bread just close to my heart. Jesus said I'm the bread of life, so there you go. It's biblical. And then I can make the round loaves, artisan loaves. See, I'm getting clever. I love making bread. It's therapeutic. So I will insert that footage and get the bread going first, and I'll go back to this morning when I started the bread, and then I'll walk you through that, and then we will start the rest of the meal. And the other half of the dough, where I show you I'm putting it back, the other half of the dough I'm using for something else, and it's not going to be in this video. You'll just have to wait till the next one to see what I'm going to do with that other half of the dough. So let's let you watch how I'm going to make the bread right quick, and then we'll start to get into making the rest of the meal, okay? This is my bread after mixing it this morning, and I found a clever way to create a warming station to help my bread rise. My heating pad, I just turned it on and started using it as a warming mat and covering it up. So this is after it has been sitting all morning and after a series of about 3 stretch and folds every 30 minutes. And then this is the last one. And I'm going to show you this technique in case you don't know what stretch and folds mean. After you mix your dough, you let your dough rest. Then you start a series of stretch and folds where you literally grab your dough, stretch it, and then fold it over itself. And you can do this up to 4 times every 30 minutes apart. So we put it back on my warming mat to do that last little rising. Now we are going to start shaping my dough. And you see what it looks like after that last stretch and fold, how much it rose and the air bubbles. So I have a silicone mat that I travel with to help keep things from sticking to my little table and seeping through the crack in the middle of the table where the fold is, because it's a fold down table. So I spread that out and I floured my surface, and now I'm just going to dump my dough out and I'm going to start working with it. I'm just going to knead it, and not really knead it. I'm just going to like give it a couple of folds here gently, just enough to work just a little more gluten in and close up some of those seams. So I created a round ball with good tension in it, and I want to take my bench scraper and divide this dough ball in half first. The reason why I'm dividing it in half is because I told you I'm going to take 1/2 of that dough and save it for something else later. So I'm going to work with one dough ball, and then I'm going to put the other back in this container and save it for another recipe. So I'm going to work with this dough right here. Now my intentions are I'm going to make 2 hoagie buns and 2 cobatta rolls. So I'm dividing that one dough ball in half again. So I'm going to have 2 of each thing. So the first little dough ball, I cut it in half again. And now I am making 2 hoagie buns. And I'll show you how to do that one. We got the first one started. See how it's just kind of like rectangle. I didn't do a lot of manipulation with it. And then I'm just going to flatten it down a little bit to make hoagie buns. And I'll show you on this second one how to do it properly. You're just going to take it and cup it and fold it inside itself. Pinch the seam closed. Tie up the ends kinda. Now you can stop right there and you've got you a hot dog bun. But when you flatten it, then it kind of makes a hoagie bun. So I'm going to set those over to the side. And then I am going to start getting my ciabatta rolls done now. Now, I could have done this a different way and it would have probably gave me my square shape better. I could have left that dough ball right there together and just kind of like put it in a small rectangle kinda or like a rectangle, and used my bench scraper and cut 2 dough balls in squares, and use that bench scraper, use the cutting edge of the bench scraper and cut them in 2 squares. But I didn't think about that till after I had already divided that little dough ball into 2 to make the ciabatta buns. So now you see me trying to shape it back into a squarish like shape with rounded edges like a ciabatta roll is supposed to be. And you kind of like flatten it down too, because that's what ciabatta rolls look like. So I'm going to do that with the second one and get it ready. next time I make them, I will use the bench scraper and cut them purposely in square form. So now I'm going to put a cut a score into my Hoagie Buns. I didn't do that with the ciabatta rolls because they are kind of flat top. But my Hoagie Buns, I do want them scored. And I just did that with a knife. So now I'm going to put them back on my little Genius warming mat using my heating pad until they double in size, and I kept them covered. Now look at them, how much they've doubled in size. And the ciabatta buns still turned out to kind of look like hamburger buns, but that's okay. Now but you get the idea. Now we're going to put them in the air fryer. Look how much bigger they got after going through that rise again. So I'm going to pop those down in my air fryer basket on the parchment paper, and I'm going to do 320 degrees for like 6 minutes on one side, flip 6 minutes on the other, or you can do a combination of 7 and 7, 8 and 8, 9 and 9, whatever your air fryer needs to be to get the kind of color that you want on the top. Now, I did not use an egg wash on either one of these, but as soon as they came out, I got the butter slapped on there. And yes, that was kind of hot. So you see it melting that butter. So this is going to like form a good soft crust on top. And I'm just going to slather butter all over those Hoagie Buns. I've got the ciabatta buns in the air fryer now. And when they come out, I will slather butter all over those babies. And then we are going to add some sesame seeds to the top. I wanted sesame seeds on the Hoagie Buns, and I'm going to test this time and see what they look like and taste like on the ciabatta rolls. But normally you don't have to put sesame seeds on the ciabatta rolls. When those come out, I'll butter them too. And then here's what they look like when they came out. I'm going to let these rest and get the rest of the meal prepared. Now let's get to start making those meatballs. I'm just gonna try, well, no, I'm gonna have to use both hands. So jewelry off, I don't want raw meat in my rings. Okay, I've got in here just the roll of 73/20, 73 something other, or it's 80/20, to where that way I don't have a lot of grease in my meatballs. And I just added salt, pepper, some steak seasoning in here, Italian seasoning, onion powder, and garlic powder. I'm just going to mix this meat up, get all these seasonings incorporated in there. I've got something going in the air fryer. I'm doing double duty today, y'all. All right, we're gonna get these. If I see I need some more seasonings, I'll add some more. But I'm just gonna mix this meat. Then what I'm gonna do after I get it mixed, I'm just gonna start making the little meatballs, y'all. Now I have kind of like smaller Hoagie Buns, but y'all, you'll see in a minute, them Hoagie Buns. Did you see them Hoagie Buns? But I want like some that, you know, you can fit in your mouth without looking like a big old chipmunk. Okay, you know how chipmunks look when they, or gerbils, hamsters when they stuff their mouth. Okay, just about like that. I'm gonna finish mixing this meat together and then show you what the meatballs look like. Yeah. Go. I'm gonna go ahead and start putting these in my electric skillet. Y'all, at home I have the perfect little size little ice cream scoop, but it's like a melon baller, but it's Pioneer Woman. This would have been perfect for these. Maybe that's that one more little thing dear hubby keeps talking about that I need to put in my box. All right, I'm gonna keep doing this. Okay, I got the meatballs in the electric skillet, and I'm just gonna brown those on both sides. I'll turn them over here in just a minute, just to brown them up. I didn't want to splatter. Oh, that was steam. I didn't want to splatter myself. Okay, we're just going to brown them on both sides. Let's get that lid back on there. Okay, I have flipped them over. They're browned on both sides. Y'all, this is not store-bought. I brought this from home. This is some of my home canned pasta sauce we do every year. I just save these jars, y'all. Family and friends save jars for me because they know I can. And I just reuse them. You can reuse lug lid jars for water bath canning. Now, I don't pressure can with these because I'm always afraid that the pressure might pop the lid off. But I do reuse lug lid jars for water bath canning, and this is some of my home canned pasta sauce from raising our own San Marzano tomatoes. So I brought this from home. So I'm gonna open this up, and I'm just gonna pour this in here. I'm probably not gonna need the whole jar, and I will have about right there. I will have the rest of the jar for another meal. I'm going to let these simmer in my own sauce. Y'all, we're close enough to home that I can make trips and go pick up some food and in some coolers. Not a lot, but like some of our home canned things. And there's a little cabinet down up underneath here that I brought pickles, dill pickles, bread and butter pickles. I brought 3 jars of my spaghetti sauce or pasta sauce. What else did I bring? Strawberry jam, sugar-free strawberry jam that I made. Oh my goodness, y'all. I brought a cooler of jarred food. But we don't have a freezer here, so I couldn't grab any of our meat. But I brought what I could. I'm going to let those simmer and marry each other. And then after these get done, I will do the sweet potato fries in the air fryer. And y'all, I just bought this brand right here. Okay, sweet potato fries. And I will crisp these up in the air fryer, and we'll put this meal together. Sweet potatoes going in the air fryer. Here we are, all plated up. Thanks for watching.